Tuesday, March the 11th, I've dashed down Southbourne. Well, the plan was to dash down Southbourne as quick as I can and fish the last hour of daylight and hopefully bump into my first place of the year. But as per usual, I got held up in the shop. And rather than being down here at sort of 5:45, it's now, what is the time? 6:30. So I might, if I'm very, very lucky, have sort of half an hour of little bit of daylight still and bump into my first place of the year. If not, doesn't matter. I've got other baits. I might bump into a sole or a ray. We shall see. So I've had to come out tonight. I didn't necessarily want to, of course, you know, fishing, a bit of a drag, isn't it? But fished a little club match last night and I got some bait left over, so I had to come out and use that up. They can't just, go to waste, can it? That'd be criminal. So I forced myself out tonight. I absolutely love the months ahead. I love being able to come down after work and have an hour or so of the last bit of daylight and then going into dusk and then into darkness, because that's just the best times to fish down here. The last hour of daylight going into darkness is the best time to bump into things like the place and the gurnards and things like that, which are all going to start to be showing in the coming weeks. Then into the evening you'll get the sole and the rays and things like that. It's just such a wonderful time. It's just so nice to have that bit of variety of daylight and darkness. It's the best time of day to fish, I think. The last few months has just been dark, and more dark, isn't it? I've hastily thrown out a 3/8 flapper on my first rod. I just saw a bite. Did I see a bite? I keep doing. How many times do I do this? I start talking on camera and I get a bite. That's uncanny. You guys are my good luck charm. You are welcome along every time I fish. Anyway, I hastily threw out a 3/8 flapper in the hope of trying to grab as much of that dying light as I could. And it's a rig that I'm going to be using an awful lot from this time of year onwards now. It's what I call the ugly rig. You might have heard me mention it in the past. Basically, it's a 3/8 flapper, obviously, because other than a Bagner bar, that's all I use, right? But it's got a slightly larger hook at the bottom, which I shall bait up with a ray bait. And then the other two hooks are going to be slightly smaller with worm baits on. So just basically start covering a few more options. I've got 2 baits out there for the flatties or bits and bobs, but I've still got a bait out there for a rogue ray if one happens to be swimming around. Now the ugly rig, I can chop and change that massively. Last year in the little club match, the doubles league match that I filmed, I think we were using an ugly rig, quite an extreme one. So I had 2 bream hooks, so quite small little worm hooks. Then on the bottom we had a much bigger hook with a big chunk of crab on for a smooth hound. So we were fishing for bream and hounds at the same time, and it really, really worked that session. So we'll just come down for a little bit of a bream sesh with the slight hint of a hound, because there's still quite a few hounds showing. So basically what I've done is my usual 2-at-1 down flapper, 2 bream baits at the top, bottom snood, bigger hook, lump of crab on. Whee, still going. That was a double shot. Double shot, one nice one, one little one.
Oh, and a hound. And a smooth hound. Oh, another hound. There you go. Another lovely bream. But Darren's just gone one better. Here we go, Dom. Hey. That's what we wanted to see.
One smooth hound and a sizable bream, a double shot, didn't it?
Yes, yeah, bream was on there as well.
But it is a great rig to use for just sort of little general freelance sessions, that sort of thing. Cover your options. Doesn't always have to be the same bait on every hook. Mix things up a little bit and you've got more chance of bumping into some varieties of fish. Now, tell me, was that a bite or not? Once I got myself set up, I've got both rods out there. I'll set my shed up and then we'll have a sit down and look at the rigs in a bit more detail. I've just realised I've set myself up facing into the wind. So when I set my shelter up, I'm actually going to turn everything around. What an idiot. Told you I was rushing. Let's have a little look, see if there was a bite. Looked like a little placey sort of rattle, didn't it? Oh no, actually. Oh no, there was a little bit of weight. Ah, that's disappointing. Yeah, well, you know, it's like a place, but whiting ear. Never mind. It's a little fish on the first cast. The first of many, hopefully. Well, I couldn't actually be bothered to turn my camp around, so I'm still facing that way. But as it happens, the wind is completely gone. Not a breath of wind. So, I've got my tent up. Let's have a little look-see at this rig, shall we? This is very, very, very similar to exactly what I was explaining in my last video. The Bagnall bar bit is identical. the flapper bit. The only real difference is going to be the top two snoods, okay? The bottom snood, again, is the Berkeley Flex in 050, size 1, Camazam B950U, and I've just chucked a little bit of sand eel on there. The middle two snoods, I've just dropped down a little bit, so I've gone with, this is actually the 037 Seaguar Harris, but again, you could go with the Flex. I think the Flex, they do a slightly lighter 1.35, 0.4, might be a 0.4, that'd be ideal as well. So if you want a cheap bargain line, check out the Berkeley Flex. And on those, I've got a size 2 Gamakatsu LS5013 Aberdeen, which is a brilliant Aberdeen hook. So when I'm fishing for my flatties, like my place and my sole and things like that, that's what I go with. I've got a little bit of whipped up black lug there left over from my match last night. And I've also got a little bit of fresh blow lug, which I dug over the weekend for my match. I've got about 12 worms left there. I should do me for the evening. But yeah, this is hopefully going to cover a few options, maybe pick out a bonus flatty, bonus sole, and maybe a ray on the bottom. That's what I'll hope. But I can run this pretty much for the rest of the year now, and it'll pick up all the different species. It'll pick up the gurnards and the sole and the plaice, the rays, bass, pouting, whiting. What else do we catch? Loads of things. Turbot, you name it. Catch all sorts of things. Sometimes I will change the top two hooks completely, and I'll change that to some pop-ups. So I'll scale right back down, go much finer on the line, little sort of size 8 or size 6 wormer hooks with the pop-up beads and that sort of thing. And I'll be fishing for the mackerel and the scad and things like that on those two hooks. And then the bottom hook I might change to this snood here. So I might change that to the worm hook. So I'll fish for the sole and the plaice, things like that on the bottom, and then 2 pop-ups on the top two. Cover your options. The nice thing about flappers, you've got three snoods, 3 baits. You don't have to keep them the same. Let's mix things up a little bit and target some different species. Right, I've already baited this one up. I shan't bore you with how to bait up a worm. I hope that most of you know that. I'm going to reel my second cast in, which has been rattling away quite nicely out there, and chuck this one out. I've got a funny feeling it might be another whiting. Never mind. It is still only the beginning of March. Tell you what I am worried about tonight. Great big bright moon up there, and the cloud cover is clearing. A little bit of weight on there. So yeah, that's not going to help things too much. A lot of the nighttime fish we target, they don't like a clear sky with big bright moon. Last night in the match, thankfully, there was cloud cover all night, and there was plenty of fish around to catch. I want a big ray tonight. I want a nice small-eyed, minimum 6 pound. Actually, yeah, what's a good small-eyed ray? Come on, the 10 pound is like the golden ticket. That's what we all target. What's a good small-eyed, realistically? That'll vary from location to location, but I think fishing down Southbourne, 6-7 pound fish, that's a good fish, right? Oh my God, look at this. Fish are out in force. Oh, hit myself on the chin with a whiting, but there we go. Double shot of whiting. How do I make that sound exciting? Double shot of small whiting, which is bizarre, because where we've been fishing the matches, there's been virtually no whiting, and it's all been pouting. Come around the corner to Southbourne, whiting. If the whiting are on the feed, it's not going to be a night to sit on baits for too long, unfortunately. So I'm going to bring this one in straight away. Haven't seen any bites, but there could well be a little whiting sat on there. It's probably been out for about half an hour, actually, by the time I did a little bit of filming and changing the baits over on the other rod. It'll be interesting to see what the bait's like. If the bait's intact and there's no pesky whiting on there, then I'll happily give it half-hour soaks tonight on this one. A nice leisurely evening. No whiting, and pretty much perfectly intact bait. Well, that's good news. Funny when it's good news that I don't catch a fish, but it's good news that there's no pesky whiting on it. Just means I can have a nice leisurely fish with this one tonight. This close range rod is bouncing around madly as soon as I chuck it out there. Could be a busy night on the inside rod. There we go. One more little whiting. They're just rubbish little things as well, aren't they? Not even decent whiting. Cast number 3, 4, 3, 4. I've lost count already. Wow. Is it just going to be whiting again? I suspect so. I might chuck this one really close next time. So I've been just constantly hitting that sort of 50-ish yard, lob it out there kind of range. Maybe the whiting aren't really close. They probably will be. I might do a 20-yard cast next. On this cast, it's a whiting. It's a double shot of whitings. Look at that. two just pathetically small whiting. No fish, no whiting, and pretty much full bait. Mildly chewed, very mildly chewed, maybe a small crustacean. So that's good. Still no pest fish at range, so I shall continue to launch to the horizon with this one. Give that the big heave-ho. What are we learning? What are we learning about this little situation I'm in now? No trick questions, very simple. There are fish in close and nothing out far. So simply we're learning you don't have to cast a million miles to catch fish. So if you're new to angling and you're a little bit worried that your casting's a bit, not up to scratch, don't worry too much, you can still catch fish. Still, try and learn how to cast because it's a great tool to have in your box for when you need it. But it's not always essential. Right, what's at 20 yards then? What have we got at 20 yards? Oh. Okay, so we have whiting at 60 yards and we have whiting at 20 yards. Okay, double shot and an empty hook in the middle. There we go. Whiting everywhere. Oh. Pull down on the distance rod. Don't know if you picked that up. Ooh, little something on there, a little something chewing. Is it going to do anything big? Yeah, well there's something on there. Definitely something on there, which is good. So whilst that's doing a little nod, something worth remembering, especially when fishing at distance, but if you get a bit of a pull down, or a bit of a drop back slack, you don't have to jump on your rod and reel it in straight away. You can give it a little bit of time. Picking up that rod and striking is going to do absolutely nothing. If the fish is going to hook itself, it's going to hook itself. You've got to rely or trust the rig and the weight and everything is going to do its job and set that hook. It's not really doing a lot now. I'm going to bring it in. Let's bring it in. Have a little look, see, shall we? Might be a small ray. Might be a big ray sat there doing nothing. You never know. I think it's the latter. Wow, okay. I'd love to say, feels like another big 20-pound blonde. Don't think it is, somehow. If I was a gambling man, I'd say it's a thornback that's digging itself in. Come on, you swine. Move a little bit. Oh, move a little bit then. I've actually had this in the past with the thornies down here where it's been like dragging in an anchor and I've reeled in a fish of about 2 pounds. Oh, there we go, it's completely moved. I think it is. I think it's a small ray that's digging itself in. They're rubbish to catch when they're like that. I mean, I shouldn't complain. It's a mild bit of entertainment in between the whiting. I don't know how they dig themselves in so much. It's not a big fish, because when I do get it moving, there's not a huge amount of weight there. And I haven't had any big lunges or pull downs or anything like that. So, yeah, this is going to be one of those embarrassing ones, guys. I know it is. Right, I'm going to... It's not coming off. It's not coming off, he says, confidently. Get the camera, reposition the camera, and we'll go and get this in together, shall we? Come on, let's get this thing in. Stop dilly-dallying around with it. There we go, moved again. When it moves, it comes in quite easily. This is going to be so embarrassing, I just know it is. Honestly, thornback, 2 pound. That's my guess. There it comes. It genuinely is a tiny ray. That is hilarious. So predictable. I don't think it's even 2 pounds. It's not even 2 pounds. And it is a thorny. I called that, didn't I? Swines. I've never known fish like that. Look at that pesky little thing. I mean, I should be grateful. It's a lovely ray. There you go. Circle hook. Corner of the mouth. Never fails, does it? There you go. A beautiful thorny. And do you know what? The markings on there are absolutely stunning. Some seriously vicious thorns going on as well. That tail is horrendous. Look at that. But that was like dragging in an anchor. That wasn't a lot of fun to catch, sadly. Let's throw her back. Well, there we go. Target achieved. Even if it wasn't that much fun. Let's see what this one's doing. It's bending over and going down tide a bit. I don't think it's a fish. I've actually got a bit of tide flowing, which is a rarity for Southbourne. There's a bit of weight on there, but it could be whitings. It's whitings as this is. It's whitings. It's a triple shot. That was the little bit of extra weight. 1, 2, and 3. Joy to... Oh no, there's a pouting. Sorry, double shot. No, two pouting. 2 princes, 1 whiting. Got that entirely wrong. What little cloud cover there was has completely disappeared and that temperature has plummeted. Right, let's get this one in. Oh, okay. That doesn't feel like a whiting. Oh, we're moving now. Maybe it was. Just my lead stuck in the sand, perhaps. Ah, look at that. Whiting. Who'd have thought? Another triple shot. Look at that. Wow. Pouting, Prince of the Sea on the top, whiting in the middle, whiting on the bottom. It has been a fish-filled night. You certainly can't say there's no fish around anymore. Right, what's on the last cast? Oh, I've got a sneaky feeling it's not going to be anything at all. Oh, there we go. Only 1 fish at range tonight, but it was the biggest fish of the night. It's amazing to think that that extra, whatever it was, 30, 40 yards, whatever it was, so probably the other side of the bar, made all the difference. So everything on the Fiat Flapper, close to medium range, bucket loads of fish all night long, not a single cast without fish on, double shots and treble shots. Single bait on a Bagnall bar, blast as far as I could. No small fish at all, but a bonus ray. That's food for thought, isn't it? Right, there we go. That's the end of that session. One of my usual couple of hours after work. Use up some bait from last night. That was just a terrible excuse to come fishing again, really. But there we go. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash the old like and subscribe button if you don't mind. Always means a lot to me when you guys do. And I shall see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Yeah, nothing.